Okay, let's get the webinar started. If you've dialed in, I appreciate it. This is the QuietLine Barrier Walls security presentation for noise barriers. My name is Karl Lee. I'll be going through the slides today and the product information with you. A little bit about me. I'm the National Sales Manager for Noise Barriers. I started my career in aerospace, migrating to automotive NVH, and then into active noise canceling, which is more software based. And the last 3 years, I've been with Noise Barriers as their national accounts manager for their sound control products. So we're here to talk about QuietLine barrier walls. And the last 3 slides of the presentation, I'll talk a little bit more about how we play a critical role in as far as protecting substations and transformers. But I want to give you a little bit of background on the product itself. The QuietLine product line has been around for over 20 years. And I'll go through each of the different types of panels that make up these walls. But in general, they provide an acoustic performance absorptive role, as well as an architecturally significant function for buildings on the rooftops or at ground level. One of the main advantages of using noise barriers, modular barrier systems, is the ease of installation. If you can see my screen here, in step 1, basically the site is prepped. We supply you with all of the steel support beams, and you can see here in this first bubble in step 1, these are actually the panels that are being lifted out of the crates and set into the pillars. As you see one wall erected here. In step 2, you can see how they slide down between the channels on the I-beams, and then here's the fully assembled wall. There really are 0 fasteners. The fastener in this case is really gravity. So in the event that these panels have to be replaced, they can be easily unstacked and replaced with a replacement panel. So a huge benefit. The installation options, they can be installed vertically, as you see here, or horizontally. This picture on the right is an airport, so blocking the aircraft noise from the residential neighborhood that's just on the other side of this wall. And we offer the following types of walls: our SL panel, the SLR panel, and we'll talk more about these in the coming slides, our SLR concealer, the V-stack, our quiet mod, H-H, and quiet mod H-P. So let's talk about each one of these briefly. So the QuietLine SL panel. The SL panel is depicted by this cross section here, where they sit flush against each other. So these are actually 2 stacked panels. Some of the features is they have weep holes for water drainage, so obviously they could be used outdoors or indoors. As I spoke of before, there are anchor bolts, a steel place required that is really provided by others, and a neoprene bearing block at both the ends of the bottom of the panel. And these are rated at STC 37. The QuietLine SL-R panel, the R really stands for the reveal. You notice up here, there's a 1-inch gap, which is the reveal. It is more for aesthetic reasons than anything else. And I'll show examples of those as well. The V-stack panel is very descriptive of how the panel is made. Again, this is a cross section of 2 panels, and there's a V-cut groove in the panel, so they stack neatly on top of each other with very little gap that's visible. The SLR panel with the reveal, you can see in this picture on the left in the green, there's this dark line that is actually the reveal or the gap between the panels to allow for drainage. And then the SL panel on the rooftop here, you can see how tightly fit they are. You can't see a seam, but there isn't a visible 1-inch gap like you see on an SLR panel. So on the left here, the SLR panel is sitting on top of the steel structure. This is on a rooftop. We have the SLR concealer, which shows how the panels can actually be skirted down to cover up this, call it, if you will, not very architectural looking support structure. So, depending on your application, you may opt for the concealer, especially if it's on a, more of a modern or type of building, and you want to cover up some of the HVAC units. This is probably something that's a little bit more artistically uh, artistically something that the architect might put into their plans, and we can certainly design around that. The V-stack, as we talked about before, really the panels stack nice and tight, so you don't see any seal in both instances here. This is again provides a STC37, so it's absorbing a lot of the noise that's going to be emanating from a lot of the heating and ventilation equipment, blocking that sound or deflecting it upward away from this neighborhood here. So extra feature we can offer with the barrier walls is cladding. Here are 3 different examples of cladding that, again, the architect may design into the building structure. The unfinished look here with just the metal. We can do some type of screening on the outside, as well as louvered types of architectural accessories. So anything really is possible. We design everything in-house, and before it goes to the factory, we'll get with the customer to make sure that it's aesthetically what they had in mind. A little bit more about the louvered walls, the different types. These are all fabricated in-house. This is for obviously noise suppression, as well as architecturally matching the building and providing some type of ventilation. And same with the photograph on the right here. Here's an unpainted louvered wall. Our standard RAL color options, these are just some of the standards. We can pretty much match any RAL number if you specify it. And we typically use a satin finish. We usually don't recommend a high gloss finish just because it shows a lot of damage if it's hit by any number of things, trees, hail, whatever have you. It's a little bit more resilient. Some of the barrier panel dimensions are SL line. They can be 4 inches or 5 inches thick, and up to 24 inches wide and 16 feet long. The V-stack panels, same thickness options, up to any height, 58.5 inches, and then also up to 16 feet long. The QuietMod panels, the HH depicts the hard outer skin steel surface matched with the hard meaning non-perforated on the inside, where the HP panel is an acronym for hard outside, and P is perforated steel on the inside. These could be 4 inches thick as our standard thickness. We can do other thicknesses if required, and up to 48 inches or 4 feet wide and 12 feet long. Barrier wall materials, real quickly on the slide, the 16 gauge solid skin on the outside and the 22 gauge perforated skin on the inside. And there are heavier gauges available as needed. Our material of choice is usually an A60 galvannealed steel. It's very corrosion resistant and easy to paint. Panels over 4 feet high will include certain structural stiffeners as well. Just keep that in mind. So there's a little bit added cost there. And as far as structurally speaking, depending on the size, it may require a PE stamp. And if it's installed on a rooftop, it may require some wind load calculations, which we can both provide. Some applications on the architectural side: schools, performance venues like theaters, residential facilities, government facilities, high-rise buildings, commercial buildings, hospitals. These are typically where we see our product going into. And then industrial barrier wall applications, which I will focus in on a case study at the end of this presentation, is really power generation facilities around transformers, and those types of things, substations that are all owned by the respective power companies in your local area. So let's get to the case study here. So if you've been paying attention to the current events, vandalism and security to power stations and transformer has been on the rise. I think data that has been collected since 2013, the last 10 years, there's been 530 reports, and 70 of those in the last year alone. So there's a significant uptick in vandalism to these government-owned subsidiaries. So we see that as a vertical where our products certainly apply. We have done several installations in the past, and now there's more focus to reach out to the government agencies. I'm sorry, to the power companies in your local areas to offer this type of security. So, main reason for giving the short PowerPoint presentation on this subject matter. Of course, we have a case study marketing cut sheet. Happy to send that to you. If you need more information, you can certainly contact me, and we can see if we can design around a specific application that you might have. Thank you for your time. Again, like I said, visit us at noisebarriers.com and follow us on all the social media below. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.